Everyone's asking when Jamaica will bounce back. But the real question is, will it ever go back at all? In this video, we are going to look at the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, the strongest storm in Jamaica's history, and the ambitious 90-day plan meant to restore the island. But as we uncover the scale of destruction and the impossible deadlines, we'll explore whether recovery even means returning to the past, or building a new kind of Jamaica entirely. Stick around for the final insight. It might just change how you see the word resilience. It was the morning of October 28, 2025, when Hurricane Melissa made landfall on Jamaica's southwestern coast. It wasn't just another storm. It was a Category 5 monster, the strongest hurricane to ever strike the island. Sustained winds roared at nearly 185 miles per hour, ripping apart roofs, homes, and entire communities. Within hours, Jamaica was plunged into chaos. The devastation was unlike anything the island had seen in generations. Roads crumbled, hospitals were torn apart, and communication lines went silent. Almost the entire island lost power, forcing millions into darkness. Prime Minister Andrew Holness declared Jamaica a national disaster zone, calling for global assistance as floodwaters swallowed towns and cities. But what makes this tragedy even more devastating is Jamaica's heavy reliance on tourism, which makes up nearly 30% of its GDP and employs over 175,000 people. With beaches destroyed and hotels in ruins, one of the country's most vital lifelines has been crippled. The real question isn't just how Jamaica will rebuild, but whether it can rebuild fast enough before economic and social pressures become unbearable. So, what exactly will the next 90 days look like for Jamaica? And is bouncing back even possible? Let's take it from the beginning. Phase 1, the storm and its immediate impact. When Hurricane Melissa slammed into Jamaica, it wasn't just wind and rain. It was a full-scale assault. Entire parishes like St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland were flattened. Witnesses described scenes that looked apocalyptic, with homes reduced to splinters and trees stripped completely bare. Within the first 48 hours, the official death toll began to rise sharply, with at least 28 confirmed casualties and hundreds still missing. Rescue crews struggled to navigate washed-out roads and flooded valleys. Hospitals overflowed, operating on backup generators, if they had power at all. Images from the ground showed cities like Savannah, Lamar, and Black River underwater, while bridges collapsed and vehicles floated through what were once main streets. Jamaica's fragile power grid was destroyed, leaving millions cut off from the rest of the world. At this stage, the focus wasn't on recovery. It was survival. Search and rescue teams scoured debris fields, pulling families from the wreckage. Food and clean water were scarce. In many places, people lit fires to stay warm through the endless, powerless nights. But here's the haunting question. If Jamaica could barely withstand the first 10 days, how could it possibly rebuild in just 90? Phase 2, the present. By the second week, the chaos slowly began to take shape. International aid poured in. US search and rescue teams, along with relief groups from Canada, the UK, and other Caribbean nations, arrived on the ground. Helicopters dropped food, water, and medical supplies into isolated communities that hadn't seen help since the storm first hit. Electricity, however, remained a major problem. Nearly half of the island was still without power, and hundreds of miles of transmission lines were down. Rebuilding Jamaica's power grid would take not weeks, but months. Meanwhile, the damage to the tourism industry was becoming painfully clear. Hotels along the north and south coast were severely damaged. With the peak tourism season fast approaching in December, the stakes couldn't be higher. Every single day without tourists meant millions of dollars in lost revenue. Money Jamaica desperately needed for recovery. And then came another blow: agriculture. Fields of bananas, sugarcane and coffee plantations were wiped out. Fisheries along the coast suffered heavy losses as storm surges destroyed boats and nets. Climate scientists warned that Hurricane Melissa wasn't a random event. According to new data, storms of this intensity are now 5 times more likely because of warming ocean temperatures. Rainfall events are up to 30% more intense, and that's a pattern expected to worsen. The triage phase was a race against time. Relief camps were set up across the island, offering shelter to tens of thousands of displaced people. But for every home rebuilt, 5 more stood in ruins. By day 30, Jamaica would have survived the initial blow. But the hardest part is still ahead. Phase 3, the future, the road to recovery. As November rolled in, Jamaica entered what officials called the 90-day rebuild. The government laid out clear milestones: restore power, clear debris, reopen schools, and bring back tourism by the holiday season. But these goals were ambitious, maybe even impossible. Day 30, milestone. Major highways will be cleared, electricity restored in urban centres, and hotels in key tourist zones partially reopened. By early November, progress is visible, but uneven. Power is returning to sections of Kingston and Montego Bay, yet large swathes of the island remained in the dark. The tourism sector was racing the clock. Many hotels have announced partial reopenings by December 15th, hoping to attract travellers for the Christmas season. But optimism is tempered by reality. As airports are damaged, beaches eroded, and the psychological toll on the population was deep. Day 60, milestone. By late December, the goal is to stabilise the economy. Agricultural replanting will begin, and new infrastructure projects will be launched, including storm-resistant hospitals and reinforced bridges. The government plans to push a Build Back Smarter campaign, urging industries to focus not just on repair, but on resilience. Signs of hope will begin to appear. Some farmers will return to their land. Electricity coverage will rise above 70%. Schools will reopen in temporary facilities. Yet, even as the nation is pushing forward, whispers are circulating among economists and climate experts. Could Jamaica actually meet its 90-day promise? Because here's the harsh truth. The damage caused by Melissa wasn't just physical, it was financial. Economists estimated that the total cost of recovery could equal or even surpass Jamaica's entire GDP. That's not just rebuilding. That's restarting an entire economy from scratch. Day 90, milestone. By late January 2026, the government's goal is to transition from emergency mode to full recovery. This meant restoring international confidence, bringing back investors, and proving that Jamaica could stand tall again. But by the time those 90 days arrive, one realization becomes clear. Jamaica may not be bouncing back at all. It may be bouncing forward into a new era of survival and adaptation. Here's where the story takes its most powerful turn. Recovery alone is no longer enough. The question isn't when Jamaica will bounce back, it's how it will bounce forward. Melissa didn't just destroy homes, it exposed the limits of old systems. Roads weren't strong enough, power grids weren't modern enough, and the economic safety nets were too weak. The storm revealed something larger, a truth that applies not just to Jamaica, but to small island nations everywhere. They're paying the highest price for a crisis they didn't create. According to climate research groups, hurricanes like Melissa are now fueled by rising sea surface temperatures caused by global emissions, most of which come from the world's largest industrial nations. In essence, the Caribbean is bearing the consequences of the world's pollution. So, while Jamaica fights to restore electricity and reopen hotels, it's also waging a moral battle, demanding climate justice, funding and debt relief. Without global financial aid, the cost of rebuilding could take decades to repay. The next 90 days will be remembered as a test, not just for Jamaica, but for humanity's ability to respond to a changing planet. If Jamaica succeeds, it will stand as a beacon of resilience, showing that even the smallest nations can rise again. But if it fails, it could become a grim warning of what's to come for countless other islands facing the same fate. Imagine the symbolic power if, by January 27, 2026, Jamaica manages to reopen its airports, welcome tourists again, and restart its economy. It would prove that unity, courage, and preparation can defy even nature's fiercest storms. But even if that happens, one fact remains. Jamaica will never return to the normal that existed before Melissa. Because that old normal was already unstable. If this story moved you, take a moment to like this video and share it with someone who cares about the planet's future. And don't forget to subscribe for more global updates and human stories that truly matter. Now, it's your turn. What do you think? Will Jamaica fully recover in 90 days? Or is this the start of a new era where bouncing back means something completely different? Drop your thoughts below, because your voice, just like Jamaica's, deserves to be heard.